Hello, beautiful people. It's Sindafam. Welcome to the channel. Today, we're going to be checking this video from Charlie Kirk, and it's titled, If She Didn't Have a Nose Piercing, She Might Have Won the Debate. Interesting. I'm excited to check this one out. You all have got to say. Let's check it out.
Do you view democracy as an American value, something that's very important to the fabric of this country?
No. Where is democracy in the U.S. Constitution?
Oh, okay. So are you...
No, hold on. Where is the word democracy?
I don't think the word democracy is in the Constitution.
So where is the word democracy in any of the founding fathers?
A lot of the founding fathers had extremely elitist viewpoints around who should...
Hold on. I just want to... You said the word democracy, so I want to get back to our roots.
Yes.
Where is democracy mentioned? In the Federalist Papers, the Constitution, or the Declaration?
I think it's good that this country has moved away from things that were explicitly believed by the founding fathers.
in the Federalist Papers, and it's mentioned negatively as a problem. So you ask me, is democracy a fundamental American value? I say no.
Okay.
Because I go back to our roots. And Hamilton, Madison, and Jay...
Oh, I know that Hamilton was anti-democracy.
Hold on,
these people thought that people should be owned as property.
I want to be clear. I am pro-representative government, but I'm not pro-democracy. That's a big difference, and that distinction's important. But you asked very specifically about democracy, which is not an American value. It never has been and never should be, because what is democracy? Democracy is majority rule no matter what. That there's no provisions of checks and balances, no inalienable rights, no separation of powers, pure if the majority gets it, the majority wants it as quickly as possible.
I don't advocate pure democracy. I do understand that we live in a representative, we live in a republic, and I understand these things.
Representative government.
Okay.
And you might say I'm splitting hairs on words, but I'm not.
Well, just coming from a place where on some level we have a level of democracy in this country and people vote and it is part of their civic duty to vote.
Sure.
Yes. Do you not think it is in the greater interest of this country at large that its citizens are as educated as possible to therefore be able to participate in that system?
I think they should be as wise as possible, and I don't think that education and wisdom are the same thing.
Yeah,
in fact,
I understand.
I think college disincentivizes the cultivation of wisdom.
In the age where there is such a hypersaturation of, and we've seen this, extremely polarizing, different, people are getting their news from wildly different sources.
Yes.
People just don't interact with the other side at all. Do you think that being an autodidact in any sense of the term is going to give you a thorough and rigorous education if you are so likely to end up sucked into these holes where you're never interacting with people who
That's not my only form of learning. I meet a lot of cool people. I learn from people like you and others. I mean, I'm listening when you're talking. It's not just a shtick. You haven't won me over on any of it, but you had an opportunity to. But I'm glad.
But when it comes to the talk about democracy, lots of people have different stance and opinion regarding democracy. But for me, I think at this point, with the way things are going, I don't think we are practicing democracy. Or what do you think? Do you think we're practicing democracy? Or do you think democracy is actually fair to the people? Because it's the people that matters the most, regardless of how you want to think. But at the same time, over the years, when you look at things, you see that, okay, something is not right somewhere, especially when it comes to politics. And in regards to politics and rule of the government, I always say that sometimes some of the people, they are just selfish. And most of the time, they tell you they want to do things for your best interest, but obviously it is for their best interest, and most of the time they all know where they meet. But let's talk about this, especially in regards to learning. I don't think learning only should be in regards to going to college or school or university or whatever. You can learn from people by mere interaction. And people be like, okay, I don't want to listen to the other side or the other opposite side because we don't share the exact same views. But that's not the case for me. I learn from people regardless whether we agree or not. I learn. And sometimes I learn from commentaries or comments as well. Sometimes some people leave mean comments, and sometimes those comments, I read those comments, and sometimes regardless of how it is or where the person is coming from or the person's point of view, I always make sure that there is something to learn from it and understand the person's perspective regardless. And the society itself is pushing and creating some sort of division or divide where people don't listen to each other, and they'll be like, okay, I want my voice to be heard over yours, or I want my voice to be louder than yours. We shouldn't understand each other. And sometimes it also boils down to you talking and the other person or your listener or your audience understanding you as well. And that is how communication works. And people also learn from there as well. But let's go on.
but I'm glad you attempted to. But yeah, I mean, you learn in other ways other than just sitting in a classroom listening to a professor drone on for 90 minutes and pretending to read his book and paying $20,000 a semester to cheat on the exam at the end of the semester.
I think college is what you make of it. I
agree. So is life.
People are selling themselves short on their education if they
you can listen to as many podcasts as you want. You can meet interesting people. And
academia does have like an actual level of like, you have to prove that you're worth your salt, at least to have peer-reviewed papers published, which you don't have to do to start a podcast.
If you get a PhD, yes, but hold on. So is your contention that I'm not informed or not worldly or not wise? I want to be clear.
I'm not making any claims about your specific level of being informed. I'm saying the general rhetoric on the right against education, against higher education specifically.
Why do you think it is? Is it because you think we hate smart people, or is it that there's something happening here that we really think is troubling?
I think it's much easier to control people who are less educated.
See, now you're a conspiracy theorist. So, no, it's...
Anti-intellectualism is a hallmark of fascism.
Do you think we're against higher education because it largely has created an ungrateful, unprepared generation that goes into the American body politic and does not share the core American values of freedom of speech, gratitude for our founding, consent of the governed? In fact, it's hyper-radical. And
well, there was something she said. It's much easier to control people who are less educated. From one side, I'll look at it in a way that, no, it's not 100% true. Because if we still get the ones that are educated, who go to school, pay tons of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars and still don't learn nothing. They don't learn nothing, and they are controlled, and they are fed a certain narrative to believe or to think something is true. Going to school or get education doesn't mean everybody would be educated. That is how life is. But again, when it comes to learning, I always believe that people learn in different ways. You might read, you might listen to a certain podcast, and from that podcast, you will learn something. While somebody would listen to it just because for the fun of it and not want to pay attention to nothing, or just play it in the background and just learn nothing. But somebody would listen to that podcast, and if they are to write a note or write on their notebook, it will be filled up, while somebody will not even pick nothing. I think it also depends on the individual as well, because sometimes, people think that by going to school means you are educated. No, you're not. It's not 100% true. And that is how life is. When you look at some people who did not even go to school to learn nothing, but based on the interaction and the kind of people they meet and they interact with, you see that they are more educated than some other people who went to school to read. The essence of going to school is to learn something outside of your box and also interact with other people. So you interact with other people to open your mind. But doesn't mean that everybody is open-minded. No. It depends. I think it's an individual thing. But this is interesting too. Let's go on.
Radical. And it's against our traditions, our norms, and our customs, and it's created massive fissures. We call that the woke mind virus, if you will.
Okay, that makes...
It's not because people are easier to control. In fact, we love learning. I learn every day. In fact, that's why I'm pro Hillsdale College, where it's probably one of the hardest colleges in the country to get into and graduate from. The problem is that when you are learning largely trash and crap, and you're not going in the pursuit of truth, beauty, or goodness, and you're not trying to inculcate wisdom or good character.
There's no oversight on online political punditry to make sure that you're in pursuit of wisdom and goodness.
No, of course
you directly profit from propagating viewpoints that are more polarizing and that suck people deeper into more conspiratorial thinking.
Hold on. What you're doing is you're actually insulting the audience, not me. Because the vast majority of this audience actually enjoys watching my videos, and they enjoy hearing from me.
I never said your audience didn't enjoy watching your videos.
Because you say I'm profiting. The way
you do profit, you financially, you make a ton of money from getting more clicks.
The audience rewards me because they find that I bring some value.
Well, I don't
and
necessarily
that they learn
think
something from
that
me.
whatever gets the most eyes on a specific...
But it's easy to attack me as exploitation. What I say is actually very popular and resonates with people. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you.
But the essence of podcasts, or most podcasts or commentaries, is so that people learn from each other. But what I find here is the fact that lots of people don't want to learn from both sides, and they don't want to interact. fairly and listen to each other, because by listening to each other, that is how communication is passed, and you learn from each other regardless of your view stance or whatever. People learn in different ways. I learn from people, and I constantly um, make sure that every goddamn day I learn something, regardless, even if I'm just scrolling up or just scrolling on my social or my timeline and stuff. I make sure that while I'm scrolling, I'm learning something. And yeah, people are different, but some people, they learn by reading books, some people learn by interacting with people, some people learn by watching movie, some people learn in different ways. So yeah, obviously we all learn in different ways, but again, does that mean that is the case for everybody? No, people are different when it comes to their stance of views. And I always say people should give people the listening ear, regardless whether the both of you share the same stance or the same thoughts of opinions, regardless. But the most important thing is listening to each other and communicating in to understand. But this is an interesting conversation, regardless. Let me know your thoughts in the comment down below. I'm sure tons of people have interesting things to share. I would really love you to share that. You can share other useful information you think might be really helpful. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe and all of that stuff. And until next time, see you in the next video.